We begin in the Middle East, where Israeli troops have thrust deeper into Rafah as airstrikes pound the enclave. Israel believes that Hamas is holding several hostages in Rafah. However, a new U.S. intelligence report says that Israel has only been able to eliminate 30 to 35% of Hamas fighters since the war began in October of last year. Meanwhile, the bombardment and fighting in Rafah has forced close to 1 million Palestinians to flee the city. Now, with Gaza in complete ruins, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that Israel will play no role in rebuilding the Strip. Netanyahu said, and I quote, "Rebuilding Gaza, that was never on the cards," end quote. The Prime Minister also said that Israel will play no part in rebuilding settlements in the Gaza Strip, but would retain security control over Gaza. The Israeli leader says he wants Arab nations and the international community to undertake the reconstruction of Gaza, and he also dismissed the possibility of the Palestinian Authority controlling Gaza, saying they would let Hamas back in. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu's statements come after he was criticized by ministers from his own war cabinet for not providing a plan on the future of Gaza. Both Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and Minister Benny Gantz have publicly called out Netanyahu over his intentions in Gaza. Now, in response, Prime Minister Netanyahu said, quote, "I have a very clean plan. We have a plan to get rid of Hamas," end quote. Now, Israel has shared a revised plan with the United Nations regarding the future military action in Rafah, and Washington seems to have accepted the proposal. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says Israel has given the Biden administration written assurances of minimizing civilian casualties in Rafah.
The President's been very clear with Prime Minister Netanyahu about that. I've done the same with my various counterparts. We have commitments from Israel, including in writing, about the steps that haven't been taken that need to be taken, that they say they will take and are taking, and we're working to hold them to those steps. We have to make sure that more aid gets into more people more effectively.
Meanwhile, the United States continues to ensure that humanitarian aid makes its way into Gaza as Palestinians desperately await food and medical supplies.
You know, as we've talked about, aid will be delivered to the floating pier, then transported via logistic support vessels, delivered to the causeway, and then put into assembly areas on shore. And that's where NGOs pick up that aid and then further distribute it. So to my knowledge, there's no stoppage. Again, as we mentioned, this is going to be a crawl, walk, run approach, and you're going to see those numbers increase in the days ahead.
As Hamas regroups and with no end to the fighting, the questions remain: who will take on the enormous task of rebuilding Gaza, and how long will Palestinians have to live their lives relying on humanitarian aid? From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.